What's going on, guys? Welcome back to a brand new tactic video, and today we have got the best 4-3-3 underdog you're going to see in quite some time. With the championship starting up again and some of you guys might be playing as some of the smaller teams, I thought, you know what, it's the best time to post this video. Now this tactic is an absolute joy to use and it won Aston Villa the Premier League, so a little spoiler there. Be sure to leave a like and subscribe, but if you enjoy the tactics, be sure to leave a couple of comments who you want to see, managers, certain formations. It all helps out my end as well, and I love to make the videos you want to see. So let's get into the first test. You can probably guess with Villa. And that is right, that is going to be mighty Aston Villa, where we enjoyed a fantastic season, not only lifting the Premier League title, we win the Friendly Cup, which we are going to celebrate, that being on pens against Cadiz, and the FA Cup we also win against Arsenal in 1-0 fashion, so a very, very strong display when it comes to the cup competitions. Runners-up in that Europa Conference League as well, where unfortunately Fenerbahce, Mourinho's Fenerbahce, was a little bit too strong to obviously go and defeat. The Carabao Cup was a little bit of a tricky one. We knock ourselves out though, as you probably can tell. We are playing with Luton as well, and yeah, that result's mental. We'll get into that shortly as well, but this was a really, really impressive tactic, and what I will say is you are going to see some of the Luton boys in here as well, so we'll go over the sort of Premier League stats once, almost a 2-in-1 combo. But as you can see with Ollie Watkins, 39 goals coming out of him. We then have a player from Luton and Adebayo, a very, very good striker in this game, and this tactic is not a sit-back defensive tactic. It's a tactic that is designed for smaller teams, that catches teams off guard and actually has quite a lot of the attack and spirit, so you are going to score goals with smaller teams playing this way. We've also got the likes of Douglas Luiz and Ross Barkley, two of our boys from two of our tests, doing really well in the assist category, and both of our goalkeepers first and second when it comes to the most clean sheets. Now what I will say is the Aston Villa team obviously is a lot better than Luton, so that is why we were able to push on and carry on and carry on and carry on. When you've got Watkins, McGinn, just two players, and that is listing very few out of that fantastic Villa team, that is what you can expect. And of course, going over to the team stats, we are going to be seeing first place for Villa, 113 goals, 7th place for Luton, so not too bad either, considering their attack isn't that great apart from Adebayo, who is really, really good, and I guess Ross Barkley contributed quite nice as well. The most points per game, we're actually going to be first and third with both of our Premier League tests. Most shots, 746, Luton down with 506, the fewest shots against, 156 for Villa, and 269 for Luton. So again, there is a little bit separating them, but again, the squad depth, the squad quality is very, very, very different. Now, I will say possession-wise, none for Villa, but Luton are going to get in at 8th place. This is not a possession-based tactic at all. I have gone down the path of, if you're playing with a smaller team with less quality, you usually aren't going to be able to play that elegant tiki-taka short pass and play, so it is quite direct, it's quite aggressive, and that's why you're not going to be featuring too much in the possession stats. But most dribbles, first and third, a really good stat line. Fewest conceded, first and second, really happy with that, and the most clean sheets at first and third as well. So a very, very good set of stats. Now the data hub for Aston Villa is going to look a little bit like this. That is going to be 2.97 goals per game, 0.55, very, very impressive. 19 shots a game, an 88% pass completion, and a very decent tackle win ratio. So that is going to be the Villa side. Let's quickly go over to Luton and see if we won anything else. I'll show you a game first though, in the league against Liverpool, one of the better teams in the league of course, and we made light work of them, went 1-0 up inside of 10 minutes, make it 2. If you've not got my set pieces, make sure you're going to get them because they're an absolute menace to this game. As you can see, another one going in there, it's endless goals, and Liverpool, to be honest, well, they crumbled big time, as that is now going to be 4 inside of 33 minutes. And I will say, fair play to Liverpool when it is due, because they do give their fans something with a goal in the 58th minute, but unfortunately, we have the last laugh, wrap up the game 5-1, a great ball, very direct, easy. Now over with Luton, the only thing that we don't need to discuss obviously is the Premier Division. The rest of the cups we can discuss. The quarterfinals knocked out by Arsenal, but the Carabao Cup we actually went on to win 2-1 against Nottingham Forest. So I will be honest, we didn't even play that well in that competition. We got gifted quite a fair few easy games, I will be honest, but still, we're going to take it. Champions League football with Luton in Season 1 and a Carabao Cup win. I'm not going to complain at all. And going over to that data hub, we are going to go and have a little look. It is going to be not as impressive as Aston Villa because we don't have an Ollie Watkins, we don't have, you know, a John McGinn, a Pau Torres to really contribute. The sort of player standard is what I'm saying is very different. No disrespect to Luton fans, but 1.66 goals per game, 0.68 conceded, over 13 shots a game, an 88% pass completion, and a 78% tackle win ratio. As you would expect with Luton Town, you are going to have the games where you're drawing. We drew 5, 5, and we did lose 7. Were any of them humiliating? The only one was against ourselves, which was 4-1 and 2-0. The rest are actually quite close games. So overall, I would imagine a lot of these games were quite close neck and neck games, just about getting over the line, as you can tell by the data hub. But do you know what? A 4th place finish, a Carabao Cup, win with Villa, we'll take it. We're not going to complain. Now, I figured there was no better time than to get Plymouth in a video after yesterday. Of course, Wayne Rooney, what are you doing? A 4-0 defeat is not a good start to the season at all. So I do have a lot of sympathy for Plymouth fans, because I think it's going to be quite a long season with Wayne Rooney in charge. But if you're under my management, might not be as long, because we are going to come out and actually win the league. Not flawlessly, 5 draws and 3 losses, not flee, 3 losses coming in with 119 points compared to Southampton in 2nd place with 97. So I will say again, that's a ridiculous playoff final. Oh wow, a very good one there. But going over to the league, I will say, although it isn't flawless, it's as good as, because no one was really near us. Southampton miles behind, Norwich miles behind, Ipswich down in 15th. That is not pretty to see. Leicester obviously in 4th, Leeds in 5th, Ryan Hardy, the bagsman, 39, Gibson with 22. We've got 3 players in the average rating. We've got the most clean sheets and also the most assists from Whittaker again. Whittaker probably being the player of the season, if we're being honest. But going over to them team stats, we are going to be featuring defensively. We were an absolute joke. Very good when it comes to the defence. When it comes to the goals, Norwich, they said, you know what, we'll match you. So I wouldn't say we were outstanding when it comes to goals being scored, but defensively, that was our bread and butter across this league. So that is really good to see. And the data hub, we can go and look at 2.46 goals per game, 0.52, 16.8 shots a game, an 88% pass completion, and a very good tackle win ratio. When I play with teams like this, I never expect to have loads and loads of goals. My main aim is to try and get above the 1.5 to 2 goal margin and keep that conceded as low as I possibly can. And with these sort of stat lines, you're going to win majority of your games, as we did, and you can't really complain. The cups, they weren't too pretty. Semi-final not too bad, but we'll move on and take the win. I will show it, although I don't know how many people play in the French league, but I thought I'd spice it up, otherwise we're going to have all English league teams. Montpellier, a team predicted 13th place. We have come out and actually won that league with 28 wins, 3 draws, and also 3 losses. Did we lose against PSG? Of course we did, but to be fair, we beat them, so I don't really care. A very strong season, and the stat lines, we'll go over it quickly. I will be honest, again, defensively was our real sort of reason why we were so high up in the rankings. Goals being scored, we were 1 off outscoring PSG. But Montpellier don't have Mbappe. We were playing on the save file where Mbappe's still at PSG. We did not stand a chance realistically, but we got the job done purely based off having lots of shots, defending very well, and drawing those games out to our advantage. Now, I will say, data hub wise, it actually was quite good. 2.79 goals a game, actually quite a lot of goals to be honest. 0.71 conceded, so easily over 2 goals to what you are going to be conceding. Over 16 shots a game, and bang on 89% pass completion, and a very good tackle win ratio. Now, of course, we are also going to be playing in that French Cup. That didn't go too pretty. So now, of course, over to your favourite part of the video. That is going to be the tactic breakdown. If you are enjoying back home, be sure to leave a like and subscribe to the video. And if you enjoy rebuilds, do not waste another second. Come on over to my other channel where we post rebuilds once every 2 to 3 days. Some of the best on the platform. We are absolutely killing it over there. And it's still quite a new channel, so chances are, if you get your requests in, you're going to get the team you want. So come on over and get involved. And of course, if you're a Patreon member, you also get that rebuild file. So we keep adding on perks. We really do. But let's go and load in this tactic. Of course, it is going to be based around a gegenpress. Now, the reason behind this is because it's by far the best tactical style in the game. Yes, it is hard, but use these key principles: rest, rotate, and train. If you have those 3 principles in place, you can play this way of football across an entire season and just be smart with it. You can do it. It's why it's in the game. Make sure you're using it because it is absolutely incredible. We're going to hit them with the gegenpress, and we are going to load in a basic 4-3-3. So this whole tactic is going to be based around a balanced mentality, just to clarify that before we do start building this, because obviously that is a question which I see a lot in the comments. I do want to quickly say, if you want to get all access to 3 of these tactics today, you want the console version, the mobile version, you want the rebuild files, the rebuild tactics, you want one-on-one tactical help, you want everything early, you want priority in the tactic and the rebuild requests, you want so much more, including this month's giveaway, which is £400. You can come over and sign up to the Patreon in the link below, where you can be part of 4,790 people. We're pushing towards 5k members, and you do not want to be missing out, because trust me, it's the place to be. But let's go over and actually build this underdog tactic. So the goalkeeper is actually quite reserved today. We are going to go with a goalkeeper instead of a sweeper keeper, and he is simply going to be set to defend. So a nice simple start. Now when it comes to the back line, it's a nice mixture of a little bit attacking, but nothing too strenuous, because at the end of the day, we are playing as an underdog side, or you're meant to be with this tactic. If you want to, you can use this with a powerhouse as well. I can't see a reason why it wouldn't work. So if you wish to, knock yourselves out. We are going to get further forwards and run wide, because again, this isn't too attacking. We're not, you know, taking more risks, dribbling more, etc, etc. There's a lot more we could do to make them a lot more attacking, like I've just stated. This is quite reserved for a back sort of fullback, and it is a nice balance between going forwards and actually coming back and doing your job, as Roy Keane would say. So both of them are going to be exactly the same: get forwards and also run wide. When it comes to the centre backs, we're going to have one ball playing defender and simply one central defender. And if you want to know why, it's purely because in a lot of the lower league teams, you've got one player that's comfortable on the ball as a ball playing defender, and then one that may be a little bit like Harry Maguire, for example. So what I've done here is I've allowed for you to have that situation. So if you're playing as a team where you've got one player that's comfortable, one player that's not, then of course this is perfect. If you've got two great ball playing defenders, play with two. But obviously I don't know what team you're playing as. That's the tough bit about making tactics online. But let's go through and go over to the midfield, which is going to consist of, funny enough, a deep line playmaker on defend. And we are simply going to have him set to more direct passing, a player that actually sits deep, looks for those forward runs, because again, I will say it, we are very attacking. For an underdog tactic, it's the best way to play, I figure, because you go into games, you catch a lot of teams off guard, and playing like this is an absolute joy. Now, one of my favourite roles in the game, we are going to utilise a box-to-box on the left, on support, and we're going to have him on get further forwards and also tackle harder. So again, one thing you'll notice about these tactics, especially with the underdog tactics, is the instructions are quite limited and not overkill, because I don't want them getting confused, having loads of stuff to do. This box to box, simply when he gets the ball, get forward with the ball, put in aggressive challenges as you would want a box to box to do. Now next to him, we are going to go with a central midfield player, and he is going to be on support, and this is a player who is going to have a few instructions, because obviously, as you can see from a supportive role, he literally has none from the rip. So we are going to have him selected on these. That is going to consist of shorter, we're going to have him on shoot to less, we're going to have him on roam, and also move into the channels. And this is the player who I like to call the link-up player, because he's going to roam about, moving into different channels. As it says on the tin, he's going to pick up the ball, play it short, do his job nice and simple, doesn't really take too many risks. And as a midfield three, we're not taking too many risks. We've got no player on attack, which is why also we are so good defensively. And because of that, you can imagine the attack is attacking, shall we say. Now if we go to the winger on the left, he is simply going to be set to attack, and he is going to be, as a traditional winger would be back in the day, get the crosses at the centre and also run wide with the ball. And we're going to double stack that. We're going to do exactly the same for the right hand side, if I can click on it, and we are going to go with run wide and also aim the crosses at the centre. You very rarely see it nowadays, you know, especially on FM, this get the ball into the box stuff, the old school football, what we love to see, and we're proving it works still today in this game. So let's have a little bit of fun. And the perfect role to actually utilise that is going to be a poacher who has got some instructions. He is going to be set to shoot more often and also move into the channels, and that is going to be your player roles. Let's go through to your team instructions. So again, the gegenpress on the balance mentality, we are going to leave this into the middle. We're going to pass into the space. Again, I've got no shame in saying this tactic might be classed somewhat as a little bit direct. We're going to overlap left, overlap right, while playing out from the back. The tempo, we're going to max out the tempo while running at defence, hitting early crosses and utilising those mixed crosses as well, because at the end of the day, you could just go with floated because we are technically having a poacher, but sometimes them low crosses, they hit a little bit different. In transition, we are going to go with a counter press, counter, and play to the fullbacks and the centre backs. Do not be worried when you see all these players running forward, because we had a very good defensive record, and although it looks very aggressive, which it is, you very rarely get caught out if they come on, you know, sort of on the rebound to your counter, if they counter your counter is what I'm trying to say, because you've still got the DM holding the deep line playmaker, and the box to box will come back and help track back as well. And to be honest, very rarely, especially in the highlights which we saw, were the fullbacks as as pushed up as the wingers. It doesn't usually happen in a system like this, so don't worry too much about that. Out of possession, we are going to go with the standard line, the high pressing line of engagement. We're going to step up more with that defensive line. We're going to max out the trigger press and prevent short goalkeeper distribution. Now, of course, as always, we are going to have 3 variants today, which you can get over in one simple download on the Patreon, but I don't force anyone to do that, so please do stick around and check out the other 2, because the tactic tests you see, the results, I use all 3 tactics to get those results. You need all 3, so do stick around. So the attacking tactic might be needed for if you're dominating a game, or maybe you just can't get that final cut and edge, and it is going to be a lot more attacking, and it's actually quite a little bit different. So the goalkeeper and both of the centre-backs do remain the same. The full-backs, however, both now go on to attack, on take more risks, dribble more, run wide, and also stay wider. The deep line playmaker goes from defend to support, still on more direct passes. The box-to-box, exactly the same. The central midfield player, he's gone missing, and Mazzala comes in on attack, on pass it shorter, and shoot less often. We then go with 2 inverted wingers who are both going to be cross-aim centre, shoot more often, and roam from position. Again, having them invert is great because the fullbacks are now definitely going to be really high up the pitch. So having coming inside is really, really good. And again, if they have got good finishing, have shoot more often on. If they haven't, don't have the instruction on. And the poacher, he's got no reason to change, so he remains unchanged. So over to the team instructions, this time on positive, still on the gegenpress. This is going to remain in the middle. We're going to pass into the space. We are going to overlap left and overlap right, of course. We're going to play out from the back with that wonderful higher tempo. This remains in the middle. We're going to run at defence and be more expressive, and we are actually going to leave it simply to mix crosses on this occasion. In transition, we are going to go with the counter press and the counter while playing to anyone across the back line. But of course, we are now trying to score goals, get the ball moving quickly, so it makes sense to distribute quickly. And lastly, out of possession, we are going to go with that high pressing line of engagement. The line I did toy with standard, but I thought, you know what, we were attacking. Go with the higher defensive line, push the boys up the pitch a little bit by stepping up more as well, getting stuck in, prevent short goalkeeper distribution, and also maxing out that trigger press. Now, to defend those games out, there is quite a fair few changes you can make to make this tactic a lot more defensively solid, and we have gone over and done that today. So the goalkeeper does remain the same, both of the centre-backs do remain the same as well, the full-backs, they change a fair bit. Both now going to be on defend, both on sit narrow, ease off tackles, and also mark tighter. Very frustrating fullbacks to beat because they're not going to commit to challenges, and at the end of the day, if the ball comes in the box because they're not pressing too aggressively, it really does not matter because we've got 2 absolute units in the box to help defend. A DM comes in instead of a deep lying playmaker, still on more direct passes. A box-to-box, he's not going to get forwards this time, simply tackle harder. The central midfield player, on support, on shoot less, roam, and move into the channels. That link-up player again almost. Both for the wingers, both on support now, both on cross-aim centre, run wides and get further forwards. Now, the concept behind this tactic was to make sure we still were able to go and score goals, which is why you'll see the wingers on get further forwards, making sure, because the fullbacks don't get forward now, so the wingers still need to get forward, hence why the box-to-box is still in the team, because although he's not got the instruction to get forwards, he naturally will as a box-to-box. That is his job role. So overall, a very, very sort of mixed tactic between rock solid at the back, but also we're not afraid to go and attack ourselves, and the poacher also remains unchanged. So again, the gegenpress, but this time we're all the way down to cautious, and the tactic changes a fair bit now. So we are going to pass into space and simply play out from the back, because I believe that is also a good way of wasting time sometimes, playing it out from the back, being quite cautious. That clock's ticking at the end of the day. Now, there are a few changes, so the tempo remains on standard on this occasion. The directness is going to go all the way up to slightly more direct. We're going to run at defense, and we're also going to hit early crosses. Now, if you've got them, have play for set pieces on. If you've got mine, you will definitely score with these, so make sure you got them on. I'm not going to tick it in case you haven't, or you don't really have any good set pieces, but if you have, that's also a good option. In transition, we are going to regroup, we're going to counter attack, we're going to slow the pace down, run the clock down a little bit more, and also play to the entire back line, because then we're pretty risk free. And you've got to remember, everyone's on defend, they're all going to be quite close to the goal. It's basically impossible to mess up, although never say never, it is the match engine. And lastly, out of possession, we are going to go with the standard line and the high pressing line of engagement, prevent short goalkeeper distribution, and max out that trigger press. And that's going to give you boys and girls back home 3 variants of the 4-3-3 Underdog, a tactic I like full stop, a 4-3-3, but making it perfect for underdogs is always a ton of fun. And if you've enjoyed back home, a like would mean the absolute world. It helps the video out massively. Thank you so much for 25k subs. I guess we're going to push for 50 now. That's quite a big step away, but you got to try and chase your dreams. So we'll try and make it happen. Be sure to leave a like, leave a comment what you thought of the video, and I'll be seeing you in the next one.